Guys, welcome to the Untapped Potential Podcast. I almost said Simply Soccer Podcast there, but no, it's the Untapped Potential Podcast now. And today I have a couple of things I want to talk about. One of the main reasons that I'm starting the podcast here is because I want to talk a lot about things I wouldn't be able to talk about on Simply Soccer. And today's episode is going to be just like that. This is something that I wouldn't really know how to discuss on Simply Soccer, but it's something I can discuss here with you. And it's something that, again, I'm currently doing, I'm currently learning. One of the great things about this podcast is I can share ideas with you guys that I'm currently, going through. These are all ideas that I'm learning. A lot of them, for example, like I made a video on an idea recently, which I hope you've seen. It's one of my favorite videos, which I called Start Before You're Ready. And this is an idea I'm learning more and more about, and so I wanted to share it with you guys. And today I want to do exactly the same thing with a certain meditation I've been doing, which has been incredible. It's led to, in these last couple weeks, some of my most exciting, blissful, productive type days. So I'm going to explain it to you and give you a link so that you can do this as well. But I also have another topic to go over that one of you suggested, and it was the topic of what to do when you're putting too much pressure on yourself, when you're too hard on yourself, or you have these certain expectations of yourself that you may not be able to live up to, but you think you need to keep putting this pressure on yourself. So I want to talk a little bit about that, but I actually think the 6-phase meditation, which is what we're going to mainly discuss today, is actually going to help you with not putting as much pressure on yourself. So when it comes to putting pressure on yourself, Joshua, you're the one who asked me, if you're listening to this. Thank you for the question, by the way. I appreciate it so much. And you said that, as a human being, we put pressure on ourselves. So how can we deal with it? How can we deal with the self-applying pressure we all kind of put on ourselves naturally? And if you're someone who is an ambitious person, I think, when you're ambitious and you have a growth mindset, you always want to improve. I think, at first when we get into this kind of thing, and even for a long time, you can go years doing this. I know it was only recently that I learned I shouldn't be doing this, but, you can go for years in this self-growth mindset, really putting pressure on yourself, because I think for us who want to grow, who want to become better, who want to change things in our life or have a vision for ourselves moving forward, years down the line, or we just want to continuously grow and evolve, which is a great thing to want to do. I think we're the kind of people who put a lot of pressure on ourselves. We're the ones who are very likely to, keep working until we've burned ourselves out. We're the kind of people that put so much pressure on ourselves that it actually can sometimes affect our performance in a bad way. Sometimes it can actually cause us to do good things. And I will talk about that, how pressure, the point of it is to actually help you get things done. But I'm also going to offer an alternative to putting pressure on yourself that I've actually learned very recently, actually a few days ago, something I've been learning as a part of a membership I'm a part of a certain product. And I learned this and I was like, oh, that is a very interesting way to think about it, because I think, again, as a human being, as humans, we tend to put so much pressure on ourselves. Whether it's in school, we put pressure on ourselves to get A's. If we're in college, we put pressure on ourselves to do well in our classes, to get on the honor roll, to be seen for our academic accomplishments. We want to be recognized. We want our degree. We have so much pressure on ourselves for that. When it comes to soccer, if we want to use that as an example, we put so much pressure on ourselves to perform. And the crazy thing about this is it's almost like a contradiction. It's almost like, a paradox, because the more pressure you put on yourself, usually the worse you perform, the worse grades you get, the worse you do in your match. Now, not always. Some people thrive on pressure, but you need to recognize, are you someone who thrives on pressure, or are you someone who buckles under it? It's not bad if you buckle under it. It doesn't make you worse than the person who thrives under pressure. It just means that you operate differently, and you need to find a different way in order to, for example, play better in matches if it's soccer you're looking at, or perform better at work maybe, or perform better in your classes if you're in school. You need to find, something else that drives you to perform better, because a lot of top level professional footballers, they thrive in those pressure situations. In fact, I'm one of those players. When I find myself in like a championship game or a playoff match when I was in college, I played better in those matches because I knew what was at stake, and I just wanted to do so well. And I didn't get nervous. It actually made me more confident. But that's just me. Again, that doesn't mean you have to be like that and try and do that. You just need to probably come at this from a different angle. So let's talk about that really quick, and then we'll get into the 6-phase meditation. So for me, I'm actually trying to make it so I don't put as much pressure on myself, because I would put pressure on myself in the past for the reason most people do at all, put pressure on themselves, is to get things done. We give ourselves deadlines, which I don't think are bad. We give ourselves, conditions when we go into something, and in order to kind of motivate ourselves to do better, right? That's the whole idea with pressure. But it can get out of control where you kind of forget the whole reason you're putting pressure on yourself. Pressure and putting pressure on yourself, if you're doing it for yourself, is a strategy in order to get you to perform better, right? It's putting pressure on yourself in a match, in order to perform well, so that you will perform better. But again, if this is not a strategy working for you, you need to come at it from a different angle. So one of the things I learned about this is you just don't want to have these kind of expectations. It's the expectations of, I need to perform well, or this, or I'm a failure, or whatever comes attached to that. I need to get good grades, or I'm inadequate, whatever it is. You have these expectations of yourself, and when you don't meet them, you feel like crap. I need to have a good game, or I'm this, right? I'm a loser, I'm a failure. And this is something that used to actually plague me when I had a bad game when I was a kid. I'm sure my parents know this very well, because when I was a kid, I used to, be so mad after matches, so furious if I played poorly or our team lost. I was a very sore loser, which is not, I don't think being a sore loser is necessarily bad if it motivates you to do better. Don't be a sore loser to your opponents. What is it, gracious in defeat? I can't forget the saying. But I was a very sore loser because I put so much pressure on myself to perform that if I had that bad game, I got so mad at myself. And this didn't make me better, it made me worse. And it was only like when I said, if I just do my best, and this is what I started saying to myself, and this is what's helped me to really take the pressure off myself. It's kind of a process. First, you just agree with yourself. And it's kind of like what we talked about with the 4 agreements. You make an agreement with yourself that you're just going to do your best. Because ultimately in any situation, that's all you can do. You can't do more than your best. So if you go into a game, for example, and you just, you promise yourself you're going to do your best. In each moment, you're just going to do the best that you can. Not the best that you did in the past, not the best that you can potentially do in the future, the best that you can do right here and right now. And if you do that, you won't have those regrets. And for me, I find the pressure really lifts away from me, because I don't have any expectation like I have to score this many goals or I have to do this. All I have is this idea that I'm going to do my best. So that's my expectation now. I'm just going to do my best. But my next expectation is I will forgive myself for whatever I think goes wrong. So let's say for a moment I don't do my best and I kind of fall out of that. Instead of getting angry at myself, I'll forgive myself, remake the agreement like we talked about in the 4 agreements. I'll remake the agreement to do my best and keep moving forward. And again, you keep doing that. So if you have a lot of pressure on yourself, you just relax and you say, okay, I'm just going to do everything I can, the best that I can right here and now. And if I stop doing my best, I'll stop myself. I'll forgive myself for slipping and being like, oops, I didn't do my best. It's okay. It happens. I'm human. I forgive myself. I'm going to continue to do my best from this point on. If it happens again, take a step back, go, okay, I'm going through the motions right now. It's okay. Let's move on. Continue to do my best. And that for me has helped me in taking a lot of the pressure off myself, because the pressure comes from somewhere. Again, like we said, pressure comes from somewhere. So the pressure to not look like a loser, maybe, if you perform poorly, or not good, someone who's not good at soccer. That was always a fear of mine. If I had a bad game, it meant I wasn't good, but that doesn't mean that at all. These weren't even self-imposed beliefs. These were beliefs coming from the outside saying, oh, if you do poorly, it means this. But you get to decide the meaning of things in your life, like we went over in the 4 agreements. You get to decide what things mean for you. So try that. Just go in with the agreement that I'm going to do my best. And if I don't do my best, I slip up a little bit. It's fine. I'm human. Acknowledge that you're human. Acknowledge that you're going to slip up and make mistakes, and it's absolutely fine. Don't try and pretend that you're going to be this perfect person in every moment, because you won't. I mean, you will be a perfect person in the fact that you're going to be a perfect human who makes mistakes. So just kind of acknowledging that kind of takes a lot of the pressure away. Also acknowledging that you're going to make mistakes, not forcing yourself to do so, but knowing that this is going to happen. I'm human. I'm going to make mistakes. I'm going to have some failures here and there down the line. And also learning to kind of learn from your mistakes instead of beating yourself up is another way that's going to take a lot of the pressure off you. But what I've started noticing is, and again, when we go over to 6-phase meditation and you start doing that, that is going to blow your mind, because this is something that's helped me forgive myself. It's helped me be more grateful. It has helped me take so much pressure off myself, while also making sure I remain productive. Because I think a lot of people put pressure on themselves, and this, I'm talking now about the people who thrive under pressure, who do well, but it still brings them a lot of stress and still makes them feel, inadequate at times. That's not a good place to come from. It's called a scarcity mindset. You're working hard because you don't want to be seen as inadequate or whatever it is you would see yourself as if you didn't work hard. It's not the best place to come from, because you're coming from what's called scarcity. You're coming from this place that goes over, well, if I don't do well here, or I don't do this, then I'm not enough, or I'm inadequate, or I'm a loser, or whatever it is. But if you come from a different place, from this abundance mentality where you go, I'm a human, I'm perfect the way I am. Doesn't mean I won't improve in the future. Doesn't mean I'm not committed to growth, but there's nothing more that I need to be. And I'm just going to do my best in this moment. And if something goes wrong, I will course correct, as soon as possible. I will use that immediate feedback to correct myself in whatever way, but I'm not going to be hard on myself. I'll forgive myself and then continue to do my best. Remember what we talked about in the last podcast over the 4 agreements. You got to let go of this. You got to let go of making assumptions, making judgments, and that includes self-judgment, right? I'm not talking about constructive criticism. I'm talking about that inner critic you have that goes, if you don't do this, you suck. If you have a poor game, that must mean you suck at football, for example, or you get bad grades, it must mean you're stupid. That doesn't mean that at all. Again, these are beliefs that we believe because people have been telling us that our whole lives. Maybe it was through bullies, maybe you subconsciously picked it up through parents or older people who believe the same thing. Whatever it is, you have to know that that's not true at all. You get to decide what your truth is. So that is how you can kind of deal with pressure. And again, for those people who thrive under pressure, I'm not saying immediately stop doing that if it's working for you, but try and come from this different place. Don't come from if I don't do this, I'm inadequate, so that motivates me to get better. Come from this place of, I'm already enough, but I'm going to continue to grow and evolve, because in life, life is all about growth and evolution, and you are continually doing that, right? So try and see if you can come from that place if you're someone who thrives under pressure. Right? And when I say thrive under pressure, you're thriving under pressure again from a scarcity mindset. You might thrive under pressure and already be coming from an abundance mindset, or coming from this place of, I'm already, enough, but I'm going to keep moving ahead and keep evolving and keep going, because how good can life get? How great can this get? How great can I get? All these things, but you're coming from a place of already knowing that even if you fail or make a mistake, you're still enough, if that makes sense. Okay. And what that means is that you can deal with this pressure in a more positive manner instead of beating yourself up. Because again, we are what we continuously do. So if you're coming from a place of, if I don't do this, I'm inadequate, you keep coming from that place, eventually you will make the mistake or fail, and you're going to actually think you're not enough or inadequate. So that's one of the best ways for me is, again, just to reflect upon this, to just recap before we move on to the 6-phase meditation, which again is something that's going to be huge for you. For all of you, regardless of whether you thrive or don't thrive under pressure. But just to recap, is to always just agree with yourself that you're going to do your best. If you don't do your best and you break that agreement, to forgive yourself and not beat yourself up. Don't put on this pressure like, I got to do my best, because if I don't, I've broken this agreement. No, you're going to break the agreement at some point. I break them, I think, almost every day, but I keep remaking them. And then the time in between when I break them is farther and farther and farther along, right? And so the more I'm making this habitual. So again, just go in acknowledging that you're going to do your best, but you're able to forgive yourself if a mistake or failure happens, because you're human. It's gonna happen. There's nothing wrong with making mistakes or failure. Anyone who gets on your back for that is such a hypocrite, because that exact person who's telling you off for making a mistake or failure has failed and made mistakes countless times in their life as well, right? So don't listen to anyone who gets on your back for failing. It's again, if you're going through the motions and you're not trying to improve, but again, that's your choice. Then I can understand if like a coach comes up to you and says, what are you doing? But that's a big stretch from someone who's just coming up to you and telling you that failure and mistakes are these terrible things that you should beat yourself up over. It's just not true. Okay? And remember, you get to decide what you want to see as truth or not. So I want to come from this abundance mentality, and I think you will as well. So that's one great way of dealing with pressure, in a way where you stop just putting pressure on yourself, and you're not, if something goes wrong, so to speak, you're able to go, okay, well, what can I learn from this? I forgive myself. I did everything I can, and it just didn't pan out. Okay, you have a bad game, let's say, and maybe you were just very unlucky, or maybe it just wasn't your day. You can forgive yourself. You went, well, I did try everything. It just, something was going on with me today. I'm not sure. I just, again, you tried your best, even though something was going on with you, and it just didn't pan out. You didn't have the best performance. You've had better performances, but that's fine. That wasn't this moment. You forgive yourself and you go, okay, I'm going to do my best next time as well, right? I'm going to keep doing my best. And if I break that pact of doing my best, I'm going to forgive myself and keep going. And that takes an incredible amount of pressure off you. It has for me, and it's allowed me to kind of take more risk as well, because I know if I take a risk and something doesn't go right, or whatever the plan is, and again, letting go of expectation takes pressure off you as well, because you're like, I'm not looking for a result. I'm not looking for this outcome. I'm just looking to do my best and seeing what happens. You can go in a certain direction, but you never know exactly what's going to happen. I'm going to step into my next match, and of course I want to play well, but I'm just going to go in and do my best. And I can't, if I'm so married or so consumed with the idea that things have to go this way, I'm always going to be disappointed, because they're not going to go that way. Exactly. They might, I can visualize about things and everything, and that will definitely help. But I'm fully aware that if I go in with this expectation that has to go this way or I'm a failure, that I'm going to walk away thinking I'm a failure. So don't go in with those kind of expectations. Just commit and make the agreement of doing the best that you can in that moment. Forgive yourself if you don't, and then keep moving forward. All right, so that was 16 minutes. I knew I was going to spend more time on that than I wanted, because that is actually a very important topic for me, because I had so much pressure on me as a kid that was not only self-imposed, but from other people as well. And I ended up putting a ton of pressure on myself, and it really did affect me negatively. It didn't help me that much. It did sometimes, but it also, I would say, equally helped and hurt me, where if I came from a place much younger of, I'm already enough, and I'm going to evolve and grow continuously, and I just committed to doing my best every time and forgiving myself when I wasn't able to follow through with that, and then just kept going, I would have, I think, been so much further along. But so that's why it's very important to me, because I want you guys to, not see yourself as inadequate if you make a mistake or you fail at something, because you're not. You're still enough. You're still fine. There's nothing wrong with you. You just made a mistake or you failed. And again, I don't see those as bad things. I see those as necessary things that help us learn and grow. All right. 6-phase meditation. Let's move on. I'm going to move away from putting pressure on everyone. So this is a meditation that for me has probably been the most helpful meditation I've ever used. Now, for a lot of you, you may not like meditation. So don't turn off yet, because it is meditation, and it's also a little different. It's not what you're used to. It's not what you probably think meditation is. And by the way, there's many different forms of meditation. Meditation isn't this one thing. It's not just you sitting cross-legged under a tree, humming, going for an hour. That's not what meditation is. That's a form of meditation. If you're doing that, you're certainly meditating, but don't get hung up on these words. It is kind of a buzzword these days, meditation, but there's many different ways to do it. And in my kind of journey and searching for different ways to do different things and optimizing my life and everything, I came across what's called the 6-phase. Nice little voice crack there. The 6-phase meditation, and I actually came across this because I was watching a video from Charisma on Command, if you've heard of their channel, and it was over a morning routine. And it's funny because I wasn't even going to watch the video, and something just pulled me towards watching it. I watched it, and I was like, I was about to get out of it, but I'm like, I'll just watch to the end. There's only 4 minutes left, and he recommended the 6-phase meditation in passing. Like, he just mentioned it. I don't think it was something he was going to mention initially in the video. I think it just popped up, and he's like, oh yeah, by the way, if you want help with this, try the 6-phase meditation, really good. So I'm like, I don't know what that is. I was like, I know meditation. I've been meditating for a while. I've never heard of this. What is this? I need to know. So I looked it up, and it's by a guy called Vishen. What's his last name? Lambiati oh man, I'm so sorry, man. I'm in Mind Valley and I can't even remember the creator's name. It's Vishen Lakhiani. That's it, Lakhiani. Vishen Lakhiani. Now, he didn't come up with the 6-phase meditation as in like he invented it, but I think he popularized it. And, he'll even say that himself, like, a lot of these ideas are ancient ideas, but what he did is he took meditation and he optimized it using all the research that we have on meditation to make the most impactful meditation you can possibly have within 15 or 20 minutes. So it only takes 15 to 20 minutes and he will guide you through the whole meditation. So you don't have to sit there in silence. You don't have to sit there and try and control your thoughts. You don't have to sit there and try and remove your thoughts. All these things you think you have to do in meditating. And those ideas are fine too. Sometimes I'll meditate where I'm just sitting in silence and I'm watching my thoughts, not trying to stop them, but just watching them and letting them go and letting them pan out and do whatever they're going to do. But I really like his walk through meditation because the reason it's called 6-phase meditation is it's going through 6 different things that I think are very important for a person to become a very well-rounded, loving individual who also loves themselves. So in the 6 phases, let me just remember exactly what it is. I'm trying to, in my head, go through the meditation. He goes through very quickly, but walking you through. It also has to do with visualization, guys, and you know how much I love visualization. It's one of my favorite practices. So it's kind of like a meditation / visualization. And he walks you through exactly how to do it, how to think, what to create in your mind. He gives you free reign to create what you're going to create. He just guides you and pushes you in the right direction. And the first thing he goes over is compassion. So that's the first phase. When we feel more compassionate about other people and about other, all the people we're connected with in the world and beyond, because I technically think we are connected to everyone in some way, whether you realize it or not. And one of the things, the first thing he goes over is building that compassion. So he gets you to feel compassion in your body. He walks you through it and he gets you to feel compassion for the people in your immediate area and then beyond. And this has been one of the most powerful parts of the meditation for me. I've noticed I've started treating people better ever since I started doing this 6-phase meditation. Family members, friends, people I just interact with, even just cashiers, I'm just much more friendly with, and people respond in kind to me because of it. I've been doing PT sessions and I've just been, much more open and with the people there and being a lot more just kind of friendly with them. So I've noticed that's been one of the great things because you start kind of just feeling a lot more compassion for people. So that's phase 1. That's something I think is very important. Phase 2 is gratitude. And gratitude maybe something your parents told you should be grateful, all this stuff, and you may be questioning whether gratitude is important. For me, it's one of the most important things. And actually, this is backed by research. And I forget exactly what it is, but I think it was, and Vishen was saying this, the research indicates that when it comes to people who are really happy and fulfilled, one of the most important practices they do towards actually feeling fulfilled and happy is gratitude. And the reason is because people think, and I used to think this, and I probably still think it to a little degree. I'm kind of training myself out of this thought process and this belief. But a lot of people think that once you get to a certain place, then you'll be happy. They think happiness is conditional. So you need this thing, or you need this accomplishment, you need whatever to be happy. But that's not how it works. Happiness leads to success, not success leads to happiness. If you can be happy right now in any situation you are in, if you can be grateful for whatever situation you're in right now and everything in your life, then things just seem to start to come your way. Things seem to start to multiply. And of course, you don't be grateful for this. You don't be grateful because you're like, I'm going to be grateful so that I start earning more money or whatever. You have to actually feel the gratitude. It's not just about being grateful. And they'll walk you through this during this 6-phase meditation. It's not just about being grateful. You have to feel it. Because anything we say is kind of useless in helping shape us if there's no feeling or emotion behind it. Because I can say one thing, like I'm talking to you, I say one thing, but you would pick up on me not meaning it if you didn't actually hear conviction or emotion or something behind it. Like I could tell someone I love you, but if I go, I love you, or I love you, or whatever, and you can just see there's no emotion in it, there's no actual meaning in it. We don't, and we're very perceptive, we can tell, like when someone tells you something and it feels a little shady, and you're like, I think they might be lying to me, or I think, they don't mean what they're saying. A lot of that has to do because there may not be any emotion behind that. Now, don't look too much into that because I don't know if that's exactly true. You may mean something even if you don't have emotion behind it. But what I'm saying is when you say something with emotion, it's so much more powerful. So when you're grateful, when you actually feel gratitude, is much more powerful than just saying something. Than just saying, I'm grateful for being alive is a lot different than saying, I'm so grateful for being alive. It's so incredibly amazing that I'm even here. Look at the probability of me having been here versus the probability of me not being here. And it's overwhelming that I'm even alive in the first. You go on and you actually start feeling why you're grateful for whatever it is you're being grateful for. So that's important when you're doing gratitude, by the way. But it's, again, also important because gratitude is one of those things when people live fulfilling lives and live the lives that they want, they attribute gratitude to being one of the main things that helps them live in the way they do. Because when you're grateful, you start finding even more things to be grateful for. You start finding things in your life that you didn't even know you had to be grateful for. You start finding, oh wow, my life's actually pretty cool, isn't it? I may not have this thing or that thing, but I'm pretty happy with what I have now. And a lot of people may think that won't motivate you to go out and achieve things, but that's not true either. Again, we're coming from an abundance mentality instead of a scarcity. People think if you don't have this scarcity mindset, so if you're in a place, for example, and you think, well, I'm happy with what I have now, you think you won't go out and try and achieve things. It's not true. It just means you're approaching it differently. You're approaching from what's called an abundance mindset mentality rather than a scarcity one. And I think that's a much better place to approach from. So the second phase is gratitude, and he takes you through being grateful for yourself, so loving yourself, grateful for kind of things within your work, within your day, and by the end of this, you feel amazing. I'll tell you, I just did this meditation this morning. I do it every morning, and after especially the gratitude and compassion part, I'm already, like, my body is already vibrating, and it feels insane. It's amazing, okay? So number 3, let me think of what number 3 is. So I'm actually going through it in my head. So it's gratitude. Okay, so then you visualize. Now we're getting into the visualization part of it. And this is fun. This is a really fun part. I think, are we at visualize in 3? 3, your day? Yeah, we are. Wait, hold on. I may be wrong here. I may have to go back and correct myself, but we're just going to move on. So I think number 3 is visualize. And what he's going to have you do is visualize 3 years ahead. And the reason for this is because apparently, and the science backs this, we overestimate how much we can do in a year, but we greatly underestimate what we can do in 3. So a lot of us will think, I can make $1 million in a year, do all this stuff. And I'm not even saying that's impossible. I think having unrealistic goals is good. But he says, generally, we overestimate 1 year, but we underestimate 3. And again, for me, 3 years isn't that long. It is in a way, but for me, it's not. A year isn't that long to me. Years. I mean, I remember 2 years ago, like it was yesterday. But it says think 3 years in advance, and then he says, I want you to visualize where you are 3 years from now, and go nuts. Basically, he'll tell you, and he'll walk you through. What do you feel? What does your body and health look like? And you'll visualize in your head when he says that what you want your perfect body to look like, and your health. What do you want to be eating? And he says, what do your relationships look like? What does this look like? Where are you living? What are you doing? And this doesn't have to be perfect, guys. You'll get better at this. The picture will start getting more vivid and more clear the more you do this. But he'll take you through that, and you'll start visualizing your life 3 years ahead. And this is a very powerful process. This is something I really, really love. And what it's going to show you, it's also going to show you what it is you want. Because you're going to start visualizing things 3 years out that you want in your life, right? Which is going to make it more clear to you, oh, okay, this is what I want. I want to maybe travel. What am I visualizing? What do I want in 3 years? Where do I want to be? It's going to help put things into perspective for you and get crystal clear on what it is you want. So that's number 3. Number 4 is you're going to visualize your day. So you're going to visualize today. So if you're doing this meditation later in the day, you'll visualize the next day. If you're doing this in the morning, like I typically do, I will visualize that current day and what I'm going to do. And he says, visualize your perfect day. And he walks you through this, visualize yourself eating a perfect breakfast. Visualize yourself, going through your morning routine and it going off without a hitch, like it's perfect. Visualize yourself at work and everything's going great, So for maybe, if you don't have a job, you can visualize just school, for example. So you can visualize yourself at school and you're having a great time with your friends, you're learning a lot, you're active, you're, whatever, everything goes well. Then you'll visualize yourself back home, all this stuff, and you'll just go throughout your whole day and just visualize it happening perfectly. Visualize yourself and you'll start getting excited about your day. So that's number 4. Okay, and number 5, and I think I may have skipped one because I'm drawing a blank here. Now, I know the last one, step number 6, is you're going to receive support from whatever you believe in. So if you believe in God, if you believe in just the universe and the oneness, even if you're an atheist, doesn't matter. You're going to call upon that thing you believe in to support you. So for me, it's the universe. I call upon the universe. I think, I believe definitely in oneness and the universe and all that. So I call upon that force. And he'll go through having that force support you as you go through your day, to give you support, to help you move about your day in the best way possible. So I definitely skipped one there, but when you do the actual meditation, obviously it won't be skipped. And this has been so powerful, guys. I've been doing this for about 2 or 3 weeks now, and I have to tell you, these last 2 or 3 weeks have been, I haven't done almost anything differently in the fact, like, I haven't accomplished that much more if I'm looking at it externally. I haven't, I have been doing little things that are probably building in the background, but like, as far as like my work day has been and all that, it's been pretty standard these last 2 or 3 weeks. However, the way I felt has been exponentially better. Like, it has been amazing. The way I've been treating people has been so much better. The way I've been looking at things and looking at myself and the ideas that have been coming through to me have been so much more. And I think a lot of it is down to this meditation. So I really recommend this. I really wanted to just mention this today and go over it a little bit with you. And we're coming to the end of the podcast now, but I really wanted to go over it because it has been and really put this into perspective. It's been incredible for me. Like, it's been great. I feel amazing. I feel like I can do anything. I am actually, I shortchanged myself there. Actually, I have been doing better with my work. I've been getting more done. I released, for those of you who are following Simply Soccer, a 7-day confidence building course for ultimate soccer skills, and I gave it free to everyone as well. That happened during that period, and I loved the process of doing it, and it was easy for me. I was so productive when I was doing it. That all happened during that time, and I want you to have this as well. A lot of the times, the things that help us to improve and grow and evolve are very simple. And this is so simple. It's 15 to 20 minutes a day. It's actually a lot of fun. Your brain is active the whole time, so it's never hard. There's no resistance, at least there wasn't for me, where like when you're meditating, after about 5 minutes or even shorter, you're already feeling that resistance, like you don't want to do this, whatever, but you have to just kind of push through. So this practice is amazing. And again, this is only after 2 or 3 weeks of me doing this, me feeling this way. Imagine a month. Imagine 2, 3 months. Imagine you in 3 months doing this every single day. What comes out of that? What possibilities and potential comes out of you doing a powerful activity like this? I mean, what would come out of your life? Like, what would happen? And you don't know, but just think of the possibilities, and it probably is way beyond what you could even think. But think if every single day you became a little more compassionate, and you went through your day even more compassionate. You went through your day even more grateful. You went through your day with this vision of where you want to be in 3 years. Every single day you have this vision of how you want your day to go, and you have this excitement and passion within you. You have the support of the universe or God or whoever it is you call for support from. Imagine every single day doing that, the ideas that will come out of that, the people you may meet because you're more compassionate and you're meeting more people. Just imagine, the things you're discovering because you're more grateful. It blows me away when I think of that thought, like how good can things get? And this has only been 2 or 3 weeks. So I wanted to share that with you. So that's it, guys. I'm gonna end it there because I could honestly keep talking about this forever. I'm already, as you can tell, very passionate and excited about this, and I'm very excited for you to try it. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm gonna link down below in the description, and I'll put it in the comments as well, the 6-phase meditation. You can get it for free on YouTube. There is a newer version you can get on Mind Valley, but that costs money. So don't worry about that. The 20-minute one I'm going to give you is fine. It's the one I was using the first few weeks, and it's great. You're going to feel amazing after you do it. It's one of those things, you come out of it and it was like you were transported to a completely different place. And then you come back and you're in reality again and you're like, whoa, I feel great. And maybe that's not, that was my experience. I'm not saying that's exactly what you will experience. Maybe it will take you a little bit to get used to it. I don't know. But what I will tell you, it's been amazing for me. And I think it could be amazing for you. So I will link that down below. I really hope you decide to do it. And also, please use my advice on dealing with pressure as well. Manage your expectations. Not in like limiting yourself, but maybe don't have any. Just, again, I already went over all that. So thanks, guys. I want to thank you so much for tuning into this podcast. I was really grateful to see how many of you tuned in for the first one with the 4 agreements. I wasn't actually expecting, again, I had an expectation, which was something I shouldn't have had, but I didn't expect that many people to watch it. So thank you so much. I'm glad that you guys liked that first one. Hopefully you enjoy this one and can get something out of it. Let me know some other topics that you want me to cover in future podcasts about self-growth, evolution, and all that stuff. Again, I'm going to be, for a lot of these, giving you these ideas that I'm learning, like the 6-phase meditation. And there's a lot of other stuff I'm learning right now. I'm learning a lot. I'm in a very big learning period right now for myself that I'm going to be sharing with you, because I want you to be able to grow as well and have the tools necessary to grow. And one of my goals, one of my visions for life, if I just can take a moment to share this with you, is definitely to help more and more people realize how great they can be. This is something it's taken me a very long time to realize that in myself, to realize that I have untapped potential and have so much potential to do, so much. And I want to help as many people as possible also realize that. And as I continue to do that, to keep, move even further into my power and recognize how much I can do and how much potential I have and everyone else does as well. So I really want to help you do that. I really want to give you the tools to move you along that path. Thank you for tuning in. Should we do we'll do hashtags for this. So we'll do hashtag pressure. How about that? Hashtag pressure. And if you put that hashtag in the comments, it just notifies me that you've listened all the way. And if you have a comment or a question or a topic for the next podcast, if you put hashtag pressure with your comment, question, whatever, I'm much more likely to answer it or even use it as a topic in the next podcast. Even if you don't have a comment though, and you just listen to this, put the hashtag down there just so I know that you listened and I can, thank you for listening. All right, guys, thank you so much for listening, for tuning in to this podcast. I've had a great time. I love doing these. I'm so in flow right now. I've had such a good time doing this. We may even talk about flow in a later podcast, so stay tuned for that. But once again, guys, thank you so much. Thank you for your support on this new channel. I really do appreciate every single one of you. And hopefully these ideas have resonated with you and can help you in some way. All right, guys, enjoy the rest of your day, and I will talk to you later.